Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Podcast. I am your host, and I am so glad that you are here with us for this important deep dive.
It is wonderful to have you with us.
We are focusing today on a skill that is, well, it is absolutely essential for professional success. Whether you are applying for a new job, meeting a new supervisor, or, networking in a new city,
All very common situations.
we are going to explore job interview skills. Specifically, how to talk about your personal history and your background simply, clearly, and effectively.
And that is so important. For many people, finding the right words can be a challenge.
It really can. For many of our listeners, especially those learning English, it can be very difficult to find the exact English words and, well, the perfect structure when you need to explain your life story in just a matter of seconds.
Yes.
Our mission today is to give you the precise vocabulary and the strategic framework that you need to master this conversation.
A very important mission.
So, we start with our main question. How can we clearly and simply talk about our personal history and background when meeting new people or applying for a job, ensuring we sound professional and committed?
Hello, I am Brian. I am an academic and a scholar who spends a great deal of time studying how we communicate complex ideas in formal settings, like job interviews.
And we were so happy you are here.
Today, we are not just looking at definitions, we are looking for strategy. We are going to unpack a short dialogue between an interviewer, Mr. Parsons, and an interviewee, Miss Child.
You're right.
We are extracting the most important nuggets of knowledge, the phrases that you should definitely remember and use yourself.
So taking it apart piece by piece.
Exactly. We will take this conversation step by step, slowly and clearly, to ensure you can internalize both the language and the professional expectations.
Excellent. Let us begin by setting the scene for this professional exchange.
Let us do that.
In this source dialogue, Mr. Parsons, the interviewer, has just received Miss Child's resume. He starts the conversation right away. The source material tells us that Miss Child's secretary passed on the resume to Mr. Parsons before the interview.
So the document arrived before she did.
Precisely.
Huh?
And Mr. Parsons opens by saying he is quite impressed with the resume because Miss Child managed to keep it short and clear.
Ah, a very good first impression.
It is. And then comes the crucial instruction.
Okay.
Mr. Parsons asks Miss Child to give him a brief overview of her background.
This instruction, brief overview, is maybe the most important strategic point for the first 5 minutes of any interview.
Why is that? Why brief?
Well, it is because they want a summary. They want Miss Child to give a lot of information in very few words, but without spending too much time on unnecessary details.
I see. So they already have the resume.
Exactly. They have already read the written document. Now they want to hear the story from the person, and they want it organized.
So the goal here is definitely not to hear a detailed life history like, I was born on this exact day.
No, not at all. You do not want to say, and then I went to that school for 3 years, and then I changed schools. The goal is to provide a clear, efficient structure.
So if we must not give a detailed history, what is the right structure to follow? What is the secret to a good overview?
That is a wonderful question. The strategic rule of thumb for this overview is to structure your answer using 3 main points: past, present, and future.
Past, present, and future.
Yes, past. This is where you quickly mention key facts about where you came from, grew up, or were educated.
Okay.
Present. This is where you are now, professionally or geographically. And finally, future. Why does all of that background and experience make you perfect for this specific role right now?
Ah, you connect it all to the job.
You must. When you keep your overview focused on past, present, future, you respect the interviewer's time, and you show that you can communicate clearly and efficiently.
And Miss Child follows this structure.
She follows it beautifully.
That is a powerful framework. You are selling your history as preparation for this specific job. Now, let us move on to our language takeaway section. The conversation between Mr. Parsons and Miss Child is full of words that help establish character and history. We have prepared 5 essential words for you.
Great. Let us dive in.
Our first word is impressed.
A very positive word.
It is. This word is an adjective. We use it when we think something done by a person is very interesting, very good, or, better than what most other people do. It is like giving someone a professional wow.
Exactly. When Mr. Parsons says he is quite impressed with the resume, it signals that Miss Child has already passed the first test. Her written communication is strong.
So it is about quality.
It is. In a professional setting, being impressed is about recognizing quality. If you deliver a very clear presentation, for example, your colleagues will be impressed by your ability to communicate difficult ideas simply.
And that is what we all strive for in our careers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our next two words define this entire section: overview and background.
The core concepts.
We have established that an overview is a summary. It is a general description. And remember, when you are asked for an overview, you are being asked to be brief, to keep your explanation short and clear.
And background is the content of that summary. We are not just talking about location, but your personal history.
So everything up to now.
Yes, it is where you are from, and it describes what you've been doing up to this moment in your life. Ms. Child starts her background overview with simple facts. I am 27 and grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
A very clear starting point.
The perfect core, simple background information.
The next word we want to highlight is educated.
Very important.
When Miss Child mentions that her family moved to London when she was young, Mr. Parsons follows up by asking, so you were actually educated in Europe?
And the phrase to be educated simply means to have someone teach you or to go to school somewhere.
So it refers to formal learning.
Usually, yes. In an interview, this is usually pointing toward higher learning college or university. You must remember that you can specify the region, like I was educated in Europe, or you can specify the school.
For example, I was educated at the University of Paris.
Exactly. The key is that you are specifying where you received your specialized knowledge.
Our fifth and final key word in this section is adventurous.
I like this word.
Me too. Miss Child explains that because her father was in the oil business, she spent a lot of her childhood moving from country to country, including time in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Parsons describes this experience by saying, "It seems you had quite an adventurous childhood."
A great way to put it.
Adventurous is an adjective that means exciting, interesting, or full of emotion.
This is a great strategic word for you to remember. While it describes a fun childhood in a professional context, it translates directly into valuable skills.
Oh, how so? What skills?
Well, if you describe your past as adventurous, you are signaling professional traits like adaptability, resilience, and cultural fluency.
I see. So you are connecting it back.
You must always connect your personal history to a professional benefit. You can say, because I had an adventurous background moving across the Middle East and Europe, I am highly culturally fluent and adapt quickly to new teams.
That is the essential pivot. Do not just describe the fun, describe the skill gained.
That is it. Exactly.
Wonderful. Now that we have established these 5 words: impressed, overview, background, educated, and adventurous, let us move to our fluency builder section.
Great. This section focuses on practical phrases or chunks of language that will make your English sound much more natural. Learning these groups of words together improves your natural flow.
Our first phrase is to pass on.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how the secretary passed on the resume to Mr. Parsons? This verb phrase means to give something to another person. It shows that the item or the message moves from one person to another person.
It did not stay with the first person.
Exactly.
And in a professional context, this is almost always used for information or documents. For example, the manager asked me to pass this memo on to the entire team.
Or, I received your request, and I will pass it on to the accounting department for review.
Perfect. It is about efficiently transferring responsibility or information.
The second phrase Mr. Parsons uses is to look it over.
A very common one.
Mr. Parsons says, I have had a chance to look it over, referring to the resume. This means to examine or to take a look at something, often in, well, close detail.
It means taking the time to read it carefully and absorb the information.
So it is more than just a quick glance.
It is. This is a perfect phrase to use when you're requesting feedback or review from a colleague or a boss. You can say, I finished this detailed report. When you have a minute, can you please look it over for me?
That sounds very professional and polite.
It is.
The third phrase describes Miss Child's childhood, moving from country to country.
Right, which led to her adventurous background.
Exactly. This phrase is very flexible, and it means spending time in many different locations. Miss Child lived in the United States, in England, and in Saudi Arabia. She was not still.
She was moving from country to country. And as you said, you can generalize this pattern. Maybe you moved often within your professional life.
How would that sound?
You could say you moved from project to project or from team to team if you were changing roles often. The phrase emphasizes constant change and flexibility.
Our final phrase is one of the most important for signaling commitment: to settle down.
Ah, a very important one.
Miss Child says, we were never still for too long, but now I am really looking to settle down.
This phrase means to stay in one place, often after moving around a lot. It signifies stability. It is a powerful signal that you do not want to move anymore.
You know, that phrase sounds a little bit personal for a job interview. It often implies getting married or starting a family.
That is a wonderful observation.
So how does Miss Child used to settle down professionally without talking about her personal life?
That is a very important distinction to make for our listeners. While the phrase can mean family and marriage in a professional context, it means you are looking for long-term commitment and stability with this company.
I see. So it is about the job.
Yes. Miss Child is telling Mr. Parsons, I have had an adventurous past, but I am now ready to commit to a professional base. I am not going to leave this job in 1 year to move to another country.
She is signaling her intent to stay.
Exactly. I am looking for stability in my career. It shows that you are a candidate who will stay, invest in the company, and grow roots. This is exactly what every interviewer wants to hear.
That is fantastic context. The professional meaning of to settle down is all about long-term stability and commitment to the role.
That is the key.
Now, let us review how Miss Child applied these concepts and phrases when describing her personal background. Look at the strategy in action.
She delivered her brief overview beautifully.
Mhm.
She gave her age, stated she grew up in Brooklyn, and noted that her family moved to London when she was 16.
Right. And she acknowledged she was United States born but now calls London home. And she used the vocabulary we discussed. She explained her father was in the oil business, which explains her adventurous childhood of moving from country to country.
Including her time in Saudi Arabia, yes.
Crucially, she tied it all together with her final statement. Now I am ready to settle down. She used simple, clear language to deliver a strategic summary, not a life story.
And she focused on the past, but signaled her commitment to the future.
Perfectly done.
That is the power of this language. We have spent this deep dive focusing entirely on your personal background, where you were born, where you grew up, and where you were, personally educated.
And what comes next?
Mr. Parsons concludes this personal history section by saying, let us move on to discuss your education, shall we? This is the critical transition you will hear in every formal interview.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, why do interviewers separate your personal history from your education? Why two separate parts?
Because they require different types of details. Your personal background establishes who you are as a person and your ability to adapt. Your educational background establishes your discipline and your expertise.
So one is about character, the other is about skill.
In a way, yes. And we must mention that when you discuss your educational background in a professional context, you're usually not talking about details from elementary school or high school.
You are focusing on higher education.
Specifically, yes. You're focusing on your college, university, or postgraduate study.
I see.
Next week, when we look at the educational background, we will focus on the specific language that proves your expertise. What was your major? What was your minor? What was your area of study?
All important, specific details.
Yes, and they follow the initial discussion of your general personal history.
That is a wonderful roadmap for our next conversation. To summarize this deep dive, we explored essential words like impressed and adventurous and key phrases like to pass on and the strategically vital to settle down.
All very useful tools.
And all of these tools help you discuss your personal history simply and clearly while proving your professional commitment.
That is the goal.
We hope this deep dive was useful for you. We leave you with one final thought to consider. When you're preparing for an interview, what specific skill like adaptability or cultural fluency does your personal history prove? And how do you use that proof to show the interviewer that you are ready to settle down professionally?
A great question to reflect on.
Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the English Podcast channel so you do not miss our next deep dive where we discuss educational history.
Thank you for joining us today. Keep learning, keep building your strategic vocabulary, and remember to always keep your professional story short and clear. Goodbye for now.